my friends, and welcome back to Dragon Age Origins. We're going to take a break for the next few days, I think, and instead have some party banter dialogue compilation videos. Some of the banter in today's video may be a repeat of the past, but there will definitely be some new dialogue as well. And without further delay, here we go.
Just how smart are Mabari supposed to be, anyway? Do you think they understand everything we say? Oh, is that so? You could just be listening to the tone of my voice. You could be an utter moron for all we know. Hey now! There's nothing saying that a moron can't be cute and adorable. Who's the cute and adorable puppy? Ignorance is bliss, isn't it? That's what the Chantry kept telling me anyhow.
Ah, the Chantry board. Yes, let us run errands for the betterment of mankind as well as a few coppers.
And then shall the Maker return
Praying for help from a prophet they burned, and a god who has turned his back on them not once, but twice. I have a wonder, Alistair, if you will indulge me.
Do I have a choice?
Of the two of you that remain, are you not the senior Grey Warden here? I find it curious that you allow another to lead while you follow.
You find that curious, do you?
In fact, you defer to a new recruit. Is this the policy of the Grey Wardens, or simply a personal one?
What do you want to hear? That I prefer to follow? I do.
You sound so very defensive.
Couldn't you crawl into a bush somewhere and die? That would be great, thanks.
They say your mother is Flemeth, a witch of the Kokari Wilds.
They also say that washing your feet in winter makes you catch cold in the head, but we all know that is not true. But sometimes they are right, and they are right in this.
You know the stories about...
Of course. You think my mother would let me go without telling me all the stories of her youth?
My mother told me stories too. She was the one who kindled my love of the old tales and legends.
My mother's stories curdled my blood and haunted my dreams. No little girl wants to hear about the wilder men her mother took to her bed, using them till they were spent, then killing them. No little girl wants to be told that this is also expected of her once she comes of age.
I see.
No, you don't. You really don't.
You are very beautiful, Morrigan.
Tell me something I do not know.
But you are always dressed in such rags. It suits you, I suppose. A little tear here, a little rip there to show some skin. I understand.
You understand I lived in a forest, I hope?
Maybe we could get you in a nice dress one day. Silk. No, maybe velvet. Velvet is heavier, better to guard against the cold in Ferelden. Dark red velvet. Yes. With gold embroidery. It should be cut low in the front, of course. We don't want to hide your features.
Stop looking at my breasts like that. 'Tis most disturbing.
You don't think so? And if it's cut low in the front, we must put your hair up. Show off that lovely neck.
You are insane. I would sooner let Alistair dress me.
It'll be fun, I promise. We'll get some shoes too. Shoes! We could go shopping together.
So the mages are all locked within.
From the inside out.
Fitting end for those who gave up their own freedom.
I'm wondering, Morrigan, do you believe in the Maker?
Certainly not. I've no primitive fear of the moon, such that I must place my faith in tales so that I may sleep at night.
But this can't all be an accident. Spirits, magic, all these wondrous things around us, both dark and light. You know these things exist.
The fact of their existence does not presuppose an intelligent design by some absentee father figure.
So it is all random then. A happy coincidence that we are all here.
Attempting to impose order over chaos is futile. Nature is, by its very nature, chaotic.
I don't believe that. I believe we have a purpose. All of us.
Yours, apparently, being to bother me.
When? Is this yours?
Oh, my bag of components. Thank you, dear. I was wondering where it got to.
You left it by the fire at camp.
Oh, Yes, I remember now. How age creeps up on you and brings with it forgetfulness.
You're a great mage, Wen, and you're sharper and wiser than many people I know. Some young ones, too.
Oh, but you should have seen me 15, 20 years ago. The fires have dimmed somewhat since then. But thank you, Liliana, for picking up after this old lady.
You remind me of Lady Cecily.
Who?
She was an Orlesian lady. My mother served her until she died, and Lady Cecily let me stay, instead of turning me out on the street. You are like her in some ways. You have the same poise, the same air of nobility.
Oh, child, I am hardly noble.
I learned that nobility isn't just something you are born with. I have met nobles who are very petty and mean, complete degenerates. Then, there are people with a certain dignity and grace. It draws you to them, no matter who you are or who they are. I think the lowest peasant can have the most noble spirit, and it will always shine through. It is this nobility of spirit that you share with Cecily.
Why, thank you, Liliana. It is very kind of you to say that. It is sometimes so hard to believe that you have been through so much at such a young age.
I think I look younger than I am.
Yes, that is possible. When I was your age, I was just about ready to take on my first apprentice. In hindsight, perhaps I should have waited a few more years. I was arrogant, my confidence bolstered by my youth.
It is so hard to imagine seeing you now.
Oh, I've had some 2 decades or so to grow mellow. Believe me, back then I was quite prickly.
So you are like a fine wine, yes? Losing the raw edges over time.
I suppose there is some truth to that analogy, but dear Maker, I do hate being compared to wine. Or cheese. Especially cheese.
You are not religious, yes? You do not believe?
I do, to some extent. It does not govern my life, however. Why do you ask?
Oh, nothing. You are just a very good person, and it shows. And I thought at first you were religious like some of the revered mothers. But no. I thought about it and I realized that you're not.
I do what I do because I enjoy it. Because I enjoy teaching others, helping them. I do not seek recognition for my works. I do not seek the approval of my peers, nor the approval of a distant god.
That is admirable, doing good for its own sake. Some I knew were not like that. They bragged about what they did, trying to impress others. Oh, Lady Adele, you fed and clothed 20 orphans. How noble. No, it's nothing, Lady Clarabelle. You treated 40 lepers and gave them massages. Like a competition with false modesty. Sickening.
Did Lady Clarabelle really give 40 lepers massages?
Who knows? Lady Clarabelle had strange tastes. I wouldn't be surprised if she did that and more.
So have you heard? Morrigan and him are, you know.
Have you nothing better to do than spread idle gossip? And besides, he can probably hear us both. You're not being very discreet.
No, look, he's not even paying attention.
Maybe. You don't think that he's serious about it, do you? The woman is a vile fiend.
Well, look here. Now who's an idle gossip? Meow.
You're the one who started this, I might remind you. And I'm ending it.
Straight. You were a cloistered sister?
You must have been a brother before you became a Templar, no?
I never actually became a Templar. I was recruited into the Grey Wardens before I took my final vows.
Do you ever regret leaving the Chantry?
No, never. Do you?
Yes. You may not believe it, but I found peace there. The kind of peace I've never known.
It used to get so quiet at the monastery that I would start screaming until one of the brothers came running. I would tell them that I was just checking. You never know, right?
No, I never did anything like that. I enjoyed the quiet.
Suit yourself. The look on their face was always priceless.
You must know that murder is wrong, I assume.
I'm sorry, are you speaking to me?
That is why you wish to leave your crows. A crisis of conscience.
Yes, that is exactly it.
Joke if you wish, but I have the feeling that deep down you regret the life you have lived.
It's true. I regret it all.
Must you be such a child? Are you incapable of a single serious conversation?
I know. I'm terrible and it makes me sad. May I rest my head in your bosom? I wish to cry.
You can cry well away from my bosom, I'm certain.
Did I tell you I was an orphan? I never knew my mother.
Egad, I give up.
Lava bad. Don't go near the lava.
I have a question for you, Shale. How does it feel to be a giant statue?
What a bizarre question. How else would it feel?
Well, let's see. Does it hurt? Do you feel like you've been buried under a pile of rock? Or do you feel nothing at all?
I have nothing to compare it to. How does it feel to be considered an inferior race when compared to others who are just as soft and weak as you?
Fine.
How very fragile it must be. One touch and its kind crumples, spilling liquid everywhere. No wonder they clad themselves in metal.
It takes more than just a touch, I'm sure.
I feel very solid and immortal. No putrid liquids to squirt out of me. Oh, no.
Now that you mention it, I suddenly rather feel like a delicate mushroom.
It'll be 2 years tomorrow. By all the holy sodding ancestors, how can you people just ignore that?
Bronca didn't go alone, Ogren. She took the whole house, everybody but you. So just get over to Tapster's and drown yourself already. You know as well as I do that's how this always ends.
You think I'm afraid of some cub warrior who's barely off the teat? Ha! I'll...
You lift a weapon, or attack a single citizen in Orzammar, and you're stripped of your caste and exiled. Even you can't have forgotten that. Get out of here before I call a guardsman.
Have you changed your mind yet? Are you willing to speak seriously?
Of your bosom? As you wish.
No, I do not wish to speak of my bosom.
But it is a marvelous bosom. I have seen women half your age who have not held up half so well. Perhaps it is a magical bosom?
Stop talking about my bosom.
But I thought you wished to speak seriously.
I do. I thought, however foolishly, that you might be willing to speak of your past.
We could do that. There have been many bosoms in my past, though only few as fine as yours.
Enough. I'm ending this conversation. They don't kill each other in the arena, do they? I mean, why would anyone find that entertaining?
How long were you in that cloister, my dear woman?
Just over 2 years. Why do you ask?
And all the brothers and sisters there, they had taken vows?
Most of them, yes.
For 2 years, you had no contact with anyone but men and women who are promised to some uncaring god?
What are you getting at?
Didn't you desire companionship during those 2 years? 2 years! The very thought makes me weak.
My time in the cloister was a time of contemplation. I occupied myself with thoughts of the Maker and other worthy pursuits. But like I said, most of the brothers and sisters had taken vows. Not all of them. Some were just affirmed, like me.
Aha! That is not so bad then.
Nothing happened, Zivran. It would not be right to engage in that behavior in a house devoted to the Maker.
Why? The Maker made us who we are. He made our urges. He gave us these parts. You think he made them for looks? You have not asked me about my conscience for some time, my darling Wynne.
That is correct. And I am not your darling.
So once again I am rejected. Just as I am by the cruel, cruel fates. They are harsh mistresses to the elves.
Zevran, I am old enough to be your grandmother.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
And what would you do with me if you had me, This is a game you play, nothing more.
You are a cynical woman, Wynne. Cynical and powerful. It drives me mad with desire.
Do you miss the cloister much? I heard you were quite happy there.
Yes, I was generally. It was peaceful and it gave me a new start. No one knew who I was. But sometimes I am glad I am away and back on the road. There were bothersome things about the place. Well, bothersome people. Some of the brothers and sisters would talk to you like the chant they spoke was more pleasing to the Maker. Oh, I hated the way they talked down at me. So sometimes I forget the words to the chant, or say them wrong. But so what? The Maker looks into your heart, no? So it doesn't matter what your lips say, as long as your heart is true.
I think you're missing the point, my dear. The Chantry believes the chant of light should be spread around the world. You cannot spread it if those that are speaking the chant are speaking it incorrectly.
But I came to the Maker before I had even heard all of the chants. The Maker speaks to people. They just don't know how to listen. It is all a power game, I think. If they convince others they know more, then they must be respected.
Child, it is precisely this kind of talk that made them wary of you. Opinions that differ from your own are always threatening.
So let us pretend that I do, indeed, believe that murder is wrong.
We are not having this conversation.
Were I to believe such a thing, what would I do with it? Feeling guilt about things one can no longer change seems so very time-consuming, with little hope for actual gain.
But you could change what you do in the future.
What would that require exactly? It seems to me that feeling guilty would take up a great deal of my time as it is.
Perhaps you could save a life instead. One for every life you have taken.
That is a great many lives to save and feel guilty as well. Perhaps I could do one or the other.
It is not a game, Zevran. You either know right from wrong, or you do not.
I am so confused. I think I may cry. May I lay my head in your bosom?
No, you may not.
You are so very cruel. How is it that you do not feel guilty?
I feel guilty for ever having spoken to you.
You know, Win, I have a friend back in Antiva who would be very excited to meet you.
I'm sorry?
Salvail prefers women with experience and maturity. He says they have more substance, are more robust and flavorful.
Does he now?
Indeed. No need to deny it. Zevran knows a fine bird when he sees one.
I am not a bird.
There is no reason to deny yourself the pleasure of male companionship, after all, yes? You might balk now, but I assure you, Salvail is a gentleman of means and quite handsome.
I am going to walk away now, calmly, coolly. This is to save you the pain of having your brain forcibly removed through your ears.
This must be a Ferelden thing, I swear.
It must be a wonderful thing to be able to weave spells.
Wonderful? To you, perhaps. Most do not feel the same way.
Oh, what do they know? They're just jealous. The Maker gives you magic. You must use it. You do it so effortlessly. It's like breathing for you. I wish I had such talent.
But you do. You have your music, your dances. You are more graceful than anyone I've ever met. I think that perhaps the Maker gives us all magic, but of different sorts.
Even Ogren?
Ogren is a dwarf. He doesn't really come from the Maker.
Oh yes, that explains it.
Win. Care to partake of Ogren's fine homebrew? It's the drink of the gods.
Ale, is it? And I hope it's brewed hygienically?
Of course. I may not know clean from a beggar's ass when it comes to most things, but I don't mess around with my ale.
Very well, let's have a taste.
Well, what do you think?
Very nice.
You like it? Well, I never...
Attractive amber color, nutty flavor, slightly sweet, just a hint of toastiness. There's some spice to it I'm finding hard to place.
Yes?
Is it cloves?
Cloves! By the stone, you're a lady after my own heart. If I weren't buckled in this armor, I'd take you around the corner and, well, you know.
Give me more ale?
I may be able to answer, Elder Mage.
Must it always be Elder Mage? I'm not a wizened old crone just yet.
Would it prefer mage well past her prime don't mind the sagging bits?
You have an odd way of requesting answers to your questions.
I'm curious about the abominations of the tower. Is it possible for such a creature to become human again?
Yes, it is simply very difficult. It requires travel into the Fade.
And is the mage the same afterwards as the mage was before?
No, I have never met such a person, but no, they are changed forever.
I understand. Thank you for the answer, wise one.
So, Wynn, how'd you know so bleedin' much about ale? Have some tawdry tale of misspent youth to tell?
Nothing quite so interesting, my friend. The tranquil mages of the Circle just happen to be alchemical miracle workers, and they brew more than just potions. There was always a pitcher or two of fine ale at our supper table.
Well, bless my britches. Maybe when all this is done, I'll chat up one or two of them quiet mages.
Tranquil.
Tranquil, quiet, insipid. Same difference.
The elder mage watches me. I'm reminded of a certain former master whose head I crushed, or so I'm told.
Oh, I'm sorry, Shale. I am simply curious about you, that's all.
As my former master would say during his experiments.
Oh, I would do no such thing. I just find the idea of you so fascinating. On the one hand, it seems it would be so sad and so lonely in existence. And on the other, you are so very powerful. No golem I know of has ever had free will as you do. May I ask what you intend to do with it?
Other than exterminating the vermin of the sky?
Yes. Other than that?
I do not know. Crushing heads is fun, for now.
Well, that's something.
Aye, sure. Why not?
Pardon?
Oh, I'd give you a roll. Why not?
A roll?
Aye, anytime. Preferably in the dark.
I suppose I should be flattered.
I'm not sure I have the equipment for that, but sure, whatever gets you working.
Is something the matter? Are you thinking about Branka?
Branka?
You loved her, didn't you? I've seen you some nights, staring off into the distance with such sadness in your eyes. You wonder if you did something that drove her away. You wonder if she would have stayed if you had done things differently. She must have loved you. Somewhere inside.
That sodding great dew-licker had a heart clad in iron. She had only one love, the anvil. And later, the anvil only sighed because I was gassy and finally let off a good one. Should be hitting you right about now. Silent killer, huh?
It's nice to see you two together. Love is such a wonderful thing, isn't it?
What are you talking about? Is this more of your insipidness?
I was talking about you and the Grey Warden. You don't think the rest of us haven't noticed, I hope?
There is nothing to notice. What you call love is nothing more than a wishful fancy.
Oh, you don't fool me. Deep down inside, you must be glad of it.
Let me tell you one thing, and let us speak of it no more. Love is a weakness. Love is a cancer that grows inside and makes one do foolish things. Love is death. The love you dream of is something that would be more important to one than anything, even life. I know no such love.
Oh.
What I know is passion, the respect of equals. Things far more valuable that I'll not speak to you of any further. Now be gone.
And that wraps up today's Party Banter video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you again tomorrow with another new Dragon Age Origins video.